Beth and Eddie Taylor here, Taylor Ministry Group.
Hola.
Happy April. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
No.
Just a few days away.
Just a few days
Yep.
away.
Shooting early.
Shooting a little early. So we want to talk about conflict resolution.
Yep. Seems like lately we've helped a few people.
We have helped a few people.
Maybe it's helped us.
Well,
a lot.
The only reason we have anything to say is because we have learned the hard way.
Yeah, we're both pretty passionate.
We're very passionate people.
And
Eddie likes to say that when he met me, he thought I was a very passionate person, which I am. Then once he was living with me, we got married and we were living together, he said, "You are
stubborn." She's stubborn.
Stubborn.
Yeah.
I think we can both say that about ourselves.
Yeah.
We think we're right. We think we know stuff. And don't most people think they know what's right? We wouldn't do it if we didn't think it was the right thing to do.
Right.
So, I think the thing that we want to be understood first and foremost is that conflict is normal.
It's
quite normal.
It's very human.
It is human.
I mean, you wouldn't want to spend a lot of time with someone who had no opinions.
That is correct.
And
I married you because I knew you had opinions.
I have opinions.
And that you would stand up for yourself. And I didn't want somebody I could walk all over. So
No. Well, and it's really what you do with it.
it is what you do with it.
Conflict can be constructive.
It can be constructive. It can be helpful. It can be it's an opportunity for growth is what it is.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we take it and we make it just a dumping ground. It's just where you drive off the edge and that's it.
Well, sometimes sorry, I got on top of you.
That's okay.
Sometimes it takes on a life of its own.
It's true.
And you don't even realize sometimes you get so worked up in your emotions that you don't realize what you were talking about, discussing, arguing about to start with.
Yeah.
And then it's just he, she, they, it's just, there doesn't seem to be a resolution. And one of the things that we learned from Andy Steinspring a long time ago was in relationships, the goal is to be reconciled, not to be right.
Or another way we like to say it is, what's most important is to be right with each other, not just to be right.
Yeah.
So same thing.
Yeah.
But we want to get to a place of peace and connection and understanding. And we also say that you don't have to see eye to eye on everything to walk hand in hand. It's okay if you see some things differently, but you have to come to a place of mutual understanding and acceptance with if there's a decision that has to be made. Because oftentimes conflict arises over how you're going to spend money or how you're decisions that you're going to make for this or that, and so there is either agreement or compromise. One of the two. Yeah. Compromise in the most positive sense that we're gonna do. I want to do this and you want to do that. What if we do this together?
Well, and in business and in other relationships outside of marriage. Many times the smart leader, the person whom the buck stops with, the person with the authority to make the call, they're wise to bring in other viewpoints and counsel and not just railroad their way through so that they can, get a bigger picture of what's going on in the organization. And
let's talk about it. Let's talk about within any of these things. Yeah. It can be in personal relationships or business or ministry relationships, how do we handle conflict? How do we resolve it? And we've got a few steps that we do personally and that we teach other people when we're teaching leadership or doing marriage counseling or, so.
Yeah, number one is you have to define the real problem. Our friend Jim Boyd likes to say that when you look with real eyes, you realize where the real lies. Isn't that funny? It's really good though.
Think on that one for a little while.
Yeah, think on that one. I'll type it out and maybe put it in the show notes or something later. It's just fun. But yeah, you have to define the real problem. I think sometimes restating the problem back and forth again between the two parties or the multiple parties helps people identify where the point of conflict is, because sometimes it's a misunderstanding or a miscommunication. So to restate the problem or define the problem.
And then also to do what with it?
Well, of course, what that does is that moves the problem in front of us rather than between us. Then it's not about personality conflict, a power struggle, a power play. It's about wanting to get the best solution for the group of people, the family or the organization, the church, whomever.
It also puts you back on the same team. So if there's something in between you, then you've got a bigger wall. But when you put it out in front of you, then you're both working together to solve this thing.
Yeah.
So that's good. So then the second thing after you define the problem is you want to also identify feelings. Feelings matter. They don't get to drive the car. We've taught on this before. They don't get to drive the car. They don't need to be shoved in the trunk, but they need to be buckled in the back seat and given a voice, but not a choice. So you want to identify what those feelings are. How do you feel about that? If you're walking with other people through conflict, to say, all right, how do you feel about that? Or you seem really upset about this. Tell me how you feel.
Yeah, I think sometimes people's passion, their emotion will reveal their depth of ownership of the problem, or their depth of misunderstanding, or their frustration. So to be candid and talk about the emotions helps to, again, put the problem in front of you and not keep it between you.
Right.
And it shows that you're human and you're involved in the process.
True. So you want to define the problem, you want to identify the feelings around that, and then what?
I think number 3 is brainstorm solutions. Again, one of the things that we say a lot is it takes no faith or creativity to find a problem. Right. Any of us can find a problem, but it takes faith, creativity, patience to brainstorm solutions. And so we like to do blue sky brainstorming where you just say anything, write down every option and don't worry about how you're going to do it yet. Just put options down first and then work through the options.
And then after you've brainstormed and gotten some options or some solutions, then you want to evaluate them. You want to sit there and talk about them. Okay, is this one actually practical? How can we take this one and make it work for us? And then you have to decide whether you've come up with one that's workable solution.
Yeah, and I think it's really smart at this point to know that the people inside the organization, inside the marriage, whatever relationship, they're wired differently, and so they're going to see the brains. They're not only they seeing the problem differently, they're going to see solutions differently, and not to discount the person in the group who you might say, well, they're just always negative. Well, they're not always negative. They're probably helping you discern what are problems, and so then you've got some people that are the rah-rahs, and they'll get behind any solution. Yeah. And that's me.
Can't we just all get along?
Yeah, and so what you want to do is take all those things into consideration as you evaluate the solutions. And again, you're looking for what Stephen Covey calls a win-win.
A win-win.
What's a solution that's good for both parties or everyone involved, and not just I win, you lose.
So then once you've chosen a mutually agreed upon solution, then you want to put it into practice and see if it works. Because here's the truth, and we've discovered this. Sometimes you think you've hit on a solution, and when you try it out, it actually doesn't work for you. or it's something that it's not practical, or it's not, it works for one party but not the other, or it doesn't work for either of you.
Or it's not cost effective.
Or, it can be anything. So then you want to go back a step and, all right, now let's look at these others. Yeah. Either look at the other ones that you've come up with, or maybe you'll come up with something different. Obviously in all of this, we pray, Lord, what do you have to say in all of this? What is your solution? Because honestly, if you can get to a point of agreement where you're hearing the Lord, it's a win-win. You can't lose, because you're doing what you believe the Lord's told you to do.
Yeah, and then finally, I think the last thing always is to have feedback with everyone on the team, both spouses if it's a marriage, because it's in that feedback that we can really see it clearly. Hindsight's 20/20, and again, if it's not working or if it needs to be tweaked, you can go backwards. Pastor L.A. Joyner taught us this phrase: you inspect what you expect.
It's true.
And so if you own an idea so deeply that you won't receive feedback over it, that's a problem.
And you know where I think this is an issue, and I've seen this in a lot of larger organizations and businesses, where the leader wants to inspect everyone else on the team, but they don't want anyone on the team inspecting them. And that's a real issue, because if you have a leader, a business owner, a CEO, whatever, someone who is pastor, who's leading an organization and willing to hear feedback and negative things about everybody but themselves and their own performance, I think you're setting yourself up for failure.
Well, because what's happened is you cut yourself off from the people that are the closest to you that can help you with your blind spots. And we have to admit,
every leader,
all of us have blind spots.
And if you want to grow as a leader and develop as a leader, then you want to be open to other people speaking truth into you, even if it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Because again, comfort is not a destination. Comfort's a commodity that we can give other people. And so...
And honestly, it comes and goes. So, but truth is truth.
Yeah.
And I would rather have truth than just comfort, because you can, I would imagine, I've never been in one, but I would imagine a coffin's pretty comfortable. It looks really plush and soft, and that's not where I want to be.
I'm sure I've got some friends here in Waycross that can make that happen for you.
No, I'm really good. But comfort is not necessarily the box that we want to be buried in. I think we want to live and move and go forward, not be stuck in some box because we're not willing to hear truth. And so I think that when we put it in terms of conflict resolution is so important, because everybody on the team, including the head honcho, he or she wants to be a part of that as well and be open to hearing.
Yeah.
So,
well, it empowers the whole team to pursue truth, to pursue best possible solutions. And if all you do is everybody bring me your ideas, but I get the final say, and I'm not willing to hear, critique from my thoughts, my processes, then it limits. John Maxwell calls it the law of the lid. It's a lid on the organization.
yes, most definitely.
And so,
Most definitely.
so here's the truth. Let's review.
Let's do it.
Conflict is going to happen.
It's going to happen.
I mean, this is a red shirt, right? No, it's orange. When my boys were growing up, they would tease Beth that she was colorblind.
Oh no, just one of them tried to convince me that I was colorblind.
We're not going to call his name.
Not going to say his name,
But
he's wrong.
Yeah, and
orange.
so, it's orange. But it's in those differences, language differences, perception differences, that conflicts arise. But wise leaders, wise people learn how to work through conflicts for the betterment of the family, the home, the church, the organization, because we're better together. I know that's a cliche, but it's really true when it's done right.
It's true. And ultimately, we want to invite the Lord, because we always bring it back to Jesus, because that's who we are and what we do. We want him to be in the center of it, and we want him to have his way. And sometimes his way is not our way.
Yeah. Yeah, and usually, someone said this old axiom, there's usually his story, their story, then there's somewhere the truth in the middle of the two. And Jesus is truth.
He is truth.
And so when we pursue him and we're pursuing truth, those 2 points usually should intersect somewhere. That's a good thing, right?
That's such a good thing.
Well, hey, we hope this helps you a little bit. Listen, don't fear talking about issues. Don't fear bringing those things up, because, it's like the adage, the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Right.
Everybody knows it's there. And so when we as leaders work through it, what we do is we free our organization, our marriage, our home, our church, our ministry to go forward.
That's right.
And really that's what we want, is just forward momentum, right? A leader takes people somewhere.
Yep.
And so we want to move towards the vision, which is a preferred picture of where we're going,
Yes.
birthed in prayer. And so we hope these tools help you.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We hope that you are able to face conflict head on and resolve it in a healthy, life-giving way, and discover that you can walk hand in hand with people.
Yeah.
That it's good. It's good.
Yep.
Life together in community is not easy, but it is so good.
Yeah, we were made for community. We were never made to do life alone.
That's right.
And so do the work. Don't be afraid to do the work.
That's right.
Well, that's all I have. Do you have anything else?
That's all I've got. Enjoy your April. April's a beautiful month most places. Down here where we live, so great.
It's your birthday month.
Yes. Best month ever.
29.
I will be 29 again this year.
It's
So.
amazing.
I know. So especially because we have a 32-year-old son.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty crazy.
math is hard.
Yep.
All
Well,
right.
we do love you. We thank you for your prayerful support. For those of you that are Sin Team monthly partners, thank you. It empowers us to take ministry opportunities regardless of the size of the church or organization we serve.
Yep.
And we really appreciate it. Thank you for your prayerful support. Continue to pray for us. God's opening doors as we support the underground church. Hey, and don't forget that we are praying for a parcel of land to build a ministry center here in Southeast Georgia. And so if you happen to come across, $1 million or some
land that's not swampy, because we live in the swamp, and we're having time finding land that's not swampy.
But we know there's a place because
God's got it.
we heard God. And so thank you for standing with us. We love you. Hope this is your best month ever.